Good morning, everyone. My name's Matthew Burt. I'm the lead scientist at British Cannabis, and I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about cannabis, the cannabinoids, and then a little bit about our company and what we do as well. So, here we go. So the cannabis plant has been used for thousands of years, really. It was first used as a medicine around 8000 BCE. The term cannabis comes from the Latin name, and the other name that you'll often hear is hemp or industrial hemp. That's usually used to describe cannabis that has THC lower than 0.2%, or in the US 0.3%, because they recently raised it. The sort of headline grabber for cannabis is the cannabinoids, which I'll come on to in a minute. The CBD and CBG is a new one as well. But it's important when talking about cannabis, especially with relevance to cosmetics, that there are many other parts of the plant that are also beneficial as well. So the cannabis seed oil has been shown to have very similar breakdown of fatty acids to human skin, and is therefore quite beneficial in sort of facial creams and stuff like that. Along with that, the other molecule that, or molecules that cannabis is sort of famous for is the terpenes. So terpenes are fragrance molecules that are found in many different species of plants, but are notable in cannabis for giving the strains the silly names that they end up getting. So things like Super Lemon Haze, for example, is called such because it has a high amount of the terpene limonene, which smells like lemons. But talking about the cannabinoids themselves, here's a just a quick representation of a couple of the sort of key cannabinoids that you may have heard of. So obviously the famous one is THC. That's the one that's responsible for the sensation of feeling high that people get when they smoke cannabis. But it's actually not the only controlled drug in cannabis. The other controlled molecule is CBN. CBN is noted for having drowsy effects, causing people to fall asleep. But there are many other cannabinoids in the plant that aren't controlled. The two most famous in that instance being probably CBD and CBG. So the reason that these work in humans, the reason that they have an effect on you, is because in every single person we have what's called an endocannabinoid system. So this is a sequence of receptors that runs throughout the body, and they're essentially little proteins that sit on the edge of your cells. Normally in nerve cells, but they are present in almost every single cell of your body. Now, you actually internally produce your own cannabinoids, these two here, which, excuse me, I'm not going to try and pronounce today because it's still quite early. But these are the internal cannabinoids that you produce within your body. What we commonly term phytocannabinoids, these ones that are present in cannabis, interact with these receptors in similar and sometimes differing ways, which causes the effects that you see. So it both causes the effects of feeling high when you take THC, but also the positive effects that we see in CBD sometimes. So there's two types of receptors throughout your body. There's the CB1 and CB2 receptors, and they pretty much work in the same way. It's more down to where they're expressed within the body. So a little bit about the key cannabinoids that we're here to talk about. So CBD is probably fast becoming the most commonly known cannabinoid. It's non-psychoactive, non-intoxicating, and is used in a variety of different products, increasingly so. I've just come from the pharmacy show at the weekend, and there's all sorts of things that you can now get CBD in. It's starting to get quite a lot. But it's mainly used at the moment in food supplements, but increasingly in the cosmetic industry. And it's been shown to alleviate stress, anxiety, although at the moment it's important to note that you can't make any medical claims to that effect, while there are studies that start to show that this is the case. But how does it work in cosmetics? So CBD has been reported to have anti-inflammation effects, and it has shown benefit for the treatment of acne, as well as other more severe skin conditions, dermatitis, psoriasis, and things like that, which is where it sort of comes into skincare. It's also known for having antioxidant properties and other things like that. So the other cannabinoid, which I'm going to touch on as well, is CBG. So this is increasingly being introduced into products. It's relatively under-investigated at the moment, although there are more papers starting to come out about the benefits that it may have. It is also non-psychoactive and non-intoxicating, similar to CBD, so you're not going to feel high or anything like that from it. And it's starting to be used more and more in cosmetic products. So it's been shown that it may be very, very beneficial for skin health. A recent study showed that it reduced reactive oxygen species in cultured cells and reduced redness, the appearance of redness on the face. So you could see how that would be very beneficial in cosmetics. So that's sort of a bit about cannabis and the cannabinoids and how they do show important benefits, especially in sort of cosmetics. So I wanted to go on to talk a little bit about who we are and what we do at British Cannabis. So we are the largest independently owned CBD manufacturer. We started off making food supplements, specifically CBD oils, but we've moved on to do other things now as well, and recently released a CBD cream and looking to extend that range as well. So I do have a quick video about us, which hopefully is going to play.
We're British Cannabis and we're here at our Portuguese farm facility where we grow cannabis. We grow to produce CBD flower for the European market. We also grow just to gain expert knowledge in what we do with the plants.
You just see the plant and you see exactly where it all starts and you see the hard work that goes into growing the plants, and this is Mother Nature and this is where all our products come from. I think where British Cannabis is different because we're independent, you know, it's always been legacy before currency. You know, the research farm here is about understanding the product and then trying to make the best product that we can compliantly put on the shelf for that market, which is mainly for us, the UK.
What makes us British Cannabis and what makes us special and unique is really our passion for learning and knowledge. It's doing more than anyone else does, and it's really just the passion of being able to sort of sit here, work with these plants, do something that I never thought was going to ever be possible, and work in probably one of the most exciting markets globally at the moment. We as a business has really looked to build an organisation that includes the growing, the extraction, the analysing, the research and development, and it's more about understanding more than anyone else, and we get to a point that we know more because we do more. We produced the first golden extract, we produced the first THC-free extract, we produced the first water-soluble technology in the UK for CBD, and there's many, many firsts, and it's one of the biggest passions I have is the research and development we do in this business. So outside of that, we've got the manufacturing side of things, which is really just taking everything we do, taking the extracts and all of that knowledge and putting it into a bottle. Another big part of the business has been ensuring that we own every step of the supply chain from seed to shelf. We need to maintain control over every aspect of what we're doing because you can't make great products unless you're doing it yourself and you have that level of control. how could we have ever wished for a better opportunity, not just to build this great business, not just to have fun doing what we're doing, growing these plants, working with great people, but the fact that we can change people's lives every day is remarkable to me, and that's what I love, and that's my passion, and that's the passion that all my employees share, and why we do what we do. The long-term vision of what we want and what has really been the goal since day one is to build that household name. Like in the UK, we have British Airways, we have British Sugar, we have British American Tobacco. British Cannabis is the next stage of that. It's where we're not just standing on the shoulders of giants, but we're really standing shoulder to shoulder with them and moving forwards. And it's my vision, really. And my legacy, I feel, to take this business forwards. So for the next 10, 20 years, we're just working hard towards that goal and that dream. And we've got the right foundations. So all we need to do now is continue doing what we're doing.
So this here is our farm in Portugal. These two pictures here, where we grow cannabis, and specifically mainly hemp, so low THC, high CBD strains of cannabis. We were founded in 2015, so we're one of the oldest companies in the market as well, because it's still a very young company, a very young industry rather. Oh yeah, there we go. So this is sort of more to do with the cannabis supplements market, really, because there isn't a huge amount of cannabis cosmetics out there. But we're one of the oldest companies, and recently in the food industry, we've been regulated under the Novel Foods Act. So only certain companies are now allowed to sell CBD foods, and we're one of the companies that are on that list. So just some of the products that we've released, which might be important to sort of more your industry, really. So we have a dermal patch, which, although not really a cosmetic, it's CBD infused with some essential oils and the terpenes that I was referring to earlier. It's released by Body Heat, and we've had that dermatologically tested. It's a nice product. I had someone come up to me at the pharmacy show the other day and say that because of this product she was able to be discharged from hospital early because she felt this product managed her pain for her. So that was nice to hear. And then this is our sort of key cosmetic at the moment. We've got a CBD cream, which is exactly what it says it is, really. It's a proprietary blend of terpenes and essential oils to give the fragrance. And then this is the range that we're looking to expand. We're going to introduce a CBG version, and then an expanded version with more of a whole plant extract. So there's a common term in the cannabis industry, which is the entourage effect, which basically refers to the idea that to take each one of these molecules in isolation is beneficial, but that it's more beneficial if you take more of the plant together, which is why we're looking at introducing the CBG for the obvious reasons that I talked about earlier, but then also a more whole plant extract, which will still be free of any of the THC or the CBN, the controlled substances, but will contain more of the plant. We're also responsible for the distribution of the UK Elixir range. So we've got in there a day cream, a night cream, a cleansing balm, miracle oil, and then a hemp balm, which is more sort of cream. And then we don't just do our own brands. We're also white label. So all of those products there are available on white label, combined of course with some others. So we've got a CBD bath oil for adding to the bath. It's again got a proprietary blend of terpenes and essential oils. We have a facial oil, which benefits from, as I was talking earlier, the hemp seed oil and the cannabinoids and their reported beneficial effects. All completely natural ingredients. A lip balm, which is a very nice lip balm, which I would say that I made it, but there you go. Um, but it nourishes the lips. It's good. It's again got CBD in it. A balm to oil cleanser, which we've produced, and a body scrub. So I also just wanted to talk quickly, because I'm sure it's a question that will come up, about the regulation and the controlled substances and how that's managed. So the law states that you're not allowed more than 1 milligram of controlled substances in a closed container, which is a bit of a bizarre law in many respects, because it doesn't matter on the size of your container, it's still 1 milligram of controlled substances. So the controlled substances in cannabis are most notably THC and CBN. All of our products are tested before they leave, so we know that they are free of or below detectable levels of those cannabinoids before they leave. But so that's sort of the regulation around that at the moment. We have, just to quickly show you a couple of the reviews of our products taken from Trustpilot, the cream specifically in this case, which is, nice to read. Again, develop the cream, so it's nice to read that people like it. So kind of that's all I've really got to say, to be honest. So are there any questions about any of the cannabinoids or cannabis, or yeah?
Hi. So I noticed that obviously you have similar sized containers offering, I think one had 250 milligrams, one had 500 milligrams. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering, both in an ingestibles and a topicals context, what the difference in effectiveness would be with that. What could the consumer expect if they chose one over the other?
Okay, well, that is one of the key things with the cannabinoids, is sometimes they are a little difficult for you to absorb properly. Ingestibles, I would argue actually topicals are probably better. Ingestibles are a little difficult. Your body doesn't take them in so readily in the stomach. So in many respects, topical creams and things like that is probably better, absorbed directly through the skin and into the bloodstream.
Fantastic. And sorry, I had another one here, which was... so you mentioned there was about the entourage effect, and that there was a, kind of this demand for the whole plant thing. Yeah. But does that not make it harder to control that the THC is under 1 milligram? Is that not kind of a double-edged sword there?
It absolutely does make it more difficult, but not impossible. But yes, so we're looking, especially at the moment, at different ways of extracting and extracting different areas of the plants to limit the amount of THC and CBN that we get in it. And then, as I said, we'd test everything before it leaves as well. But yeah, it definitely does make it more difficult.